Well, everybody, how's it going? Welcome to Frank Corner. Uh, I know it's been a while. I'm sorry I get busy in life and I'm in the middle of starting a business and other things going on. But I'm trying to get back on to putting out a few of these. Okay, so Trump just gave a speech. There's only three words to say about this speech: full of lies. His entire speech was full of lies. Get ready because they're setting things up to question the results in this November, especially when they don't go their way. So they're using a narrative that's going to help them out, I'm guessing. But anyways, yeah, we have some problems with the election system. There are some flaws. It's not perfect, but let's address some of the flaws. Some of the flaws are we don't have enough voting hours. We don't have enough people working at the polls to help. Those are some flaws. Them trying to limit, mail in ballots and stuff, which kind of alleviates what goes on at the polls. But the polls itself, we just don't have enough of them, enough hours for them, or enough people working them to address that issue. That is the flaw in our voting system. Nothing else. When they vote, they vote. When they're counted, they're counted. If they lost, they lost. If they won, they won. That's plain and simple. But under the guise of Donald Trump, if you ever listen to the speech he gave where he says, "You elect me this time, you won't have to ever worry about voting again." He said this during his 2024 campaign before he got elected this last time. Pay attention. And then he says, if we pass the SAVE Act, Republicans will never lose another election. Now, have you thought about this? We pass the SAVE Act, Republicans will never lose again. So this isn't really about a fair election. This is about making sure the Republican Party always wins. This is what it's about. Um, and we need to think about that. They'll try to put out enough information that we'll say, well, it's rigged. We won't go anyways. That's what they're trying to do. They don't want you to go out to the polls. You guys really have to pay attention to this. They really, really don't want you out at the polls. So the best thing we can do is go out to the polls and vote. Donald Trump's a liar. He's always been a liar. Everything he said when his speech was a lie. They use that little bit of truth, but there's some flaws in the voting system. Yeah, there's some truth to that, but I just told you what the truth is. The truth is, we don't have enough poll centers. We don't have people to work it. We don't have long enough hours for it. That's the truth. That is the flaw in the system. Now I believe Donald Trump and them rigged the presidential election. That's under my constitutional right of freedom of speech. I'm gonna give you my opinion. I think that they rigged the election for him. I think Elon Musk had a hand in that. And you know, when there's a will, there's a way. When you want to actually mess up the system, and Donald Trump's so desperate, he needed to be president. So I'm sure they rigged that election for him. I don't know what else to say besides that, but I want everybody to pay attention to what's going on because come November, don't worry, there's going to be a lot of the election was rigged. These people shouldn't have won. All Republicans should have took office. We know it's fake, fake, fake election, fake, fake, fake results, just like it's fake, fake, fake news when you start talking bad about Donald Trump. That's fake news. This is the stuff that's going on in today's society. I hope everybody understands that if we don't get out and vote, that's on us. The results are, on us. If you're stuck with a president you don't like and you didn't go out and vote, why the hell are you complaining? You didn't go out and vote. And yes, you know, unlike popular belief that my vote don't count. Yes, it does count. It all counts in the totals. You know, if 100,000 people say my vote don't count and they don't go vote, then 100,000 votes didn't get counted, and that 100,000 votes could have turned an election from one way to the next. Think about this on the large scale and not the small scale side that you're looking at. November's coming fast. Everybody should go out and vote. I mean, everybody should go out and vote. That's my hope, that everybody would get up and do something. We need to get rid of Donald Trump. I'm sorry. We need to get rid of this administration. We need to get rid of these Supreme Court justices that are showing that they're for one party over the other. They all need to be impeached and removed. Trump needs to be impeached and removed, and everybody on his cabinet needs to be impeached and removed. This is plain and simple. That's just how it is. I noticed Donald Trump here. I noticed J.D. Vance here is trying to distance himself from Trump with some of the things he's been talking about. I think he's trying to do that so he might get himself elected the next go round. But needless to say, no matter what Vance gets up there and says, it's probably all lies too. He's probably lying through his damn teeth. You know, because this is all about control and power, and they're going to they'll lie, steal, do whatever the hell they have to do, murder people to keep control. You know, and let's brush on that Arizona property of Epstein's, where they've been trying to go search for bodies. Because here's the truth: Donald Trump killed kids. Donald Trump killed young girls. They buried them out on that property. But the DOJ don't want nobody out there on that property to go looking. They don't want nobody looking out there. So they're fighting. You know, they're fighting Arizona in them trying to get stuff done so they can go out and look. So this is an idea of how crooked this administration is. If you don't believe this administration is crooked, there's something really wrong with you. I just got to be honest. You can tell just by the way they talk, they're crooked. You know, some of the stuff they start talking about, they're crooked. It's a shame to me that it's really a shame to me that people just swallow this stuff. You know, for anybody that's got common sense listening to Donald Trump speak, you know he's lie, 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 lie. But for the Trump people, the Trumpsters on that Kool-Aid, oh yeah, all this is real. Oh yeah, this is all fact. Oh yeah, we agree with this. Of course they do. Uneducated people are going to easily agree with some dum dum. I'm sorry, just how it works. But anyways, this ain't a long string. You know, I got to go work on my cookie recipes and cakes and pie recipes because I'm, like I said, trying to get into another venture. But I do hope everybody had a good day. You know, take care of yourselves. Be safe. Peace out. Go Bobcats. Oh, get ready. September the 5th, we're going to be playing UT at UT. This is going to show. This is going to actually show how well our team does in the Big 12. We'll find out anyway sooner or later. Y'all be safe. We'll talk to y'all later. Peace out. Take care of yourself. You know, much love to everybody.